Secretary Mayorkas tells you that they've lost 85,000 children. They've lost 240,000 children. They tell you 2.5 million has crossed. Over 5 million have crossed into this country. I'll give you an example. Where I'm closely partnered with Glenn back in the Blaze, and I'm closely partnered with the group at David Barton and the group at Restoring America's History. Are you aware that our founding fathers, we have a handwritten document here. We talk about the Constitution, handwritten, where Adams is writing a rebuttal, where he writes in hand saying, we are coming here for all caps, men, all caps, to be equal. The founding fathers came here to abolish slavery, to walk away from a tyrant king, right? They didn't come here to enslave people. Here's the truth for you. History records this. 10 million, and I'm from South Africa. I lived through apartheid. I served in the military through apartheid. I was there with Nelson Mandela. I know the lies. I understand what it looks like when racism reverses. I know that does not bring healing to a country and a land when you swing the pendulum radically. 10 million African slaves left the continent of Africa over a 350-year period and migrated. The general consensus, if you ask an American, where did they go? They'll tell you North America. That is a lie. Do you know of the 10 million slaves, only, and one is too many, let me reiterate, but of the 10 million, only 366,000 slaves landed in North America. 5 million went to Brazil. 3.5 million went to the Caribbean, went to South American countries. 366,000 slaves arrived in America over a 300-year period. Okay? Today. Wow. Only 300. Who taught you that in history?
No,
Nobody.
I have never heard a number like that before. That is like
factual.
They try to frame it like it is uniquely American that slavery existed.
Brazil took more slaves went to the Dominican Republic and Haiti than came to the United States.
Wow.
They went to the Caribbean, okay? Some to Europe, but 360. Now, look, one is too many. Okay?
Obviously.
But that's not what they taught you. Now, take that number, 366,000 slaves from Africa over a 300-year period. Our nation is not even 300 years old, okay? We're coming in here in our 250 soon, okay? We have 500,000 slaves in America as we speak, but they're sex slaves. 500,000. We're surpassing in a year in slavery, sex slavery, sexual brokenness, deviancy, force, fraud, coercion. We have more slaves in America today in 1 year than we accumulated in 300 years.
How?
That's how disproportionate this conversation has been.
Well, and that's, people think that only happens at the Super Bowl, or that could only be, apparently Texas is the worst offender. But even in little Vermont, where people forget, we're a border state, they broke up 2 sex trafficking rings of Asian nationals in Chittenden County in the last 2 years. So this is all over the country.
Every single zip code of America has child sexual exploitation in it. And I want to make it very, very clear. I'm very thankful for Tim Ballard in The Sound of Freedom. Very thankful. Tim is a friend. That movie is doing exactly what it should be doing. It's bringing awareness. But that's not enough. People need to know what to do. How do we take action? The most trafficked children sold for sex in the world are American-born children sold in America to American men. It's the American male that's driving the sex trafficking market around the world. We're the largest producer and consumer of pornography, which means we expect sexually exploitive content. We're the number one buying nation, buying sex, and we're the number one nation exploiting sex with children. That's on us. Why do you think the cartel is bringing kids into the country? Because we buy.
Right.
If we were not buying children and we were buying dishwashers, they would smuggle dishwashers into the country. They bring cocaine because we're the largest cocaine-consuming nation in the world. They bring what we buy. So at some point, the penny has to drop here in the GOP, in the church, outside the church, in the Democratic Party, that there is a cultural dilemma in America where we have corrupted our culture with sexual immorality. And like Sodom and Gomorrah, like Pompeii, like Rome, we are falling. And we're falling fast. And that's what our movie Sex Nation is all about, is these markers in our history where we have lost it. And how do we get it back? How do we take a father and say, this is the conversation you need to be having at your home?
Well,
You need to get help. Yeah.
That's assuming there are fathers in the home, which speaks to another aspect of the moral breakdown.